Guy's name again?
AZ Easy Money Curry. Yeah, he's classic long side. Talk about the time the elephant got loose from the circus train, got loose in the cornfield. Yeah, it was one fat elephant by the time they caught up with her.
Easy money.
She was no dumbo.
Easy.
You ever find some good contraband in the rail cars?
Nope, all I ever found was boxes and buckets full of locks. For some reason, as the railroad is into locks and keys. Find keys in the floor of gondolas. You never did find a lock that would fit a key, or a key that would fit a lock. What a collection, though. Always been fascinated with railroads, you know. When we were boys in Southern California, there was a...
Has it been like a... Has it been a train of thought or what?
No, this is where I first got onto the train. It's an abandoned railroad yard, a shunt line that went to a sugar beet factory that went out of business during the Depression. And but there was still a community of people there in the various outbuildings. There was a little train of about 7 or 8 cars that went under an old water tower. There was a community of hobos that lived there. And it's you don't find many hobos now, not the ones that rode the rails like that. These guys didn't ride. They got to California and they stopped. Nice place to stay.
A better place to go.
Well, but you know, it wasn't safe if you're about 9 years old and you went there to go frogging, because there was a wonderful frog pond that kind of stagnated around one of the big oil tanks.
That's a pretty big reason to go catch
every variety of frogs they had there. The leopard frogs, the ones were kind of charcoal colored, and each one of them had a different peep and a poop to it. But you didn't go there if you saw smoke coming up out of Jemima's place. Well, we called her Jemima. She was as big and black and tall sideways as a smokestack. And she had a scar. It looked like somebody taken a hatchet to her face, and it displaced her nose so that she wheezed, and this eye cried. And this mouth came down into a frown like that. She was the most accurate throw with a piece of cinder block. A piece of cinder from the track. Oh, she dusted your pants from 20 yards away. And her husband, never had a name for her husband. We just called him Jemima's husband. And he looked kind of like a circus clown, which is appropriate because that's what he used to do when he was working. He'd been a circus clown, and he was a tall, skinny, white, walking bag of dog bones. And he'd tell us stories about in the circus, the time the big top caught fire and all of that. And he'd paint a face with a piece of coal on his Adam's apple, which would bob up and down when he's telling these stories. And that little face changed expressions when we were looking at Jemima's husband. We were looking at this Adam's apple telling us stories about the time the horses got confused with the barn in the Liberty stable, and there were some mares in there. Oh man, those horses had a party. But we didn't we never went to the railroad yard alone, you know, except this one time. Young Joey, his dad worked for the paper, and they got complimentary tickets to the circus, which happened to be coming into town. This is down around San Bernardino. My brother was grounded as usual, and it was getting late in the summer, and what the heck, I know the way. And you see the track rolling in, coming around to a curve there, and some bushes there. great big hairy arm, ragged arm comes up with a club, whoom, and just cold clobbered a rabbit that had been jumping down. I was watching the rabbit jumping down the track with his arm going, whoom. Man, by the time I got there was smoke going up, a sooty smoke, and these characters with this grease coming, you know, rabbit food can be pretty greasy, kind of dripping down their mouths and scruffy beard, and they had that rabbit half eaten by the time they saw this little kitty kid. Oh boy, I'm fucking you. So I figured, well, I am a little eaten on that one, so I started walking in the other direction. You know the way you don't run away from a dog, and then it knows your fear and it goes for you. So I'm just walking, but I'm walking really fast. Before I realize it, I'm kind of getting out of breath. I'm actually coming to a bit of a trot and a bit of a jog, and they're coming my, a few of them, 6 or 8 of them coming my way.
Jasper?
And there was
what kind of music
there was
do you
a water
listen
tank
to?
up
What
ahead.
kind of, like, inspired